Rook piercings, what you should know before getting one done, coming up next on Consultations by a Piercer, episode number 7. So you should probably stick around, I'm thinking. For those who are new to the channel, welcome to the Body Piercing and Tattooing channel. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Hope you're finding them helpful and useful. But you may not know who this feller is. My name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, located right here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. What we're going to talk about today is the Rook Piercing, a very common ear piercing that's been being done for a very long time through the antitrachus of the ear. This is going to require that you clean it twice daily using a sterile saline solution. Personally, I like Nelmed's Piercing Aftercare. There are the wound wash version and lots of other different products on the market. The main things you want to look for is that it is sterile and it's saline. And when you turn it around, the ingredients are water and sodium chloride. Chloride, that's what I said. If it has any other additives in it, I don't really advise it because it's probably not. There's always a possibility you may have a reaction to those other additives. So use that twice daily for the maximum healing time, which is going to be 8 to 12 weeks. Also, the other thing I suggest doing is at the end of your shower, pull your hair and everything out of the way and just kind of let the water flow over the area. This is for about 30 seconds. This is basically to remove any hair products, any shampoo, soap, residue, anything like that may have collected on the jewelry or the piercing, but it also helps to kind of remove the discharge. You know, the crusties, those things that everybody's always worried about. That's a normal part of the healing process. You're going to have to practice cross-contamination prevention, and that's going to involve washing your hands before you handle it, no oral contact, no exchange of bodily fluids, keeping your environment clean, clothing, bedding, towels, anything that may come in contact with it. Do not submerge the piercing in bodies of water you cannot control the quality of, which is pretty much everything but your own clean bathtub. Keep pets away from it. Don't let them sleep in the bed with you, especially those smaller animals like to sleep up by your face and steal your breath while you're sleeping. Avoid contact with unclean objects, things like telephones, headphones, earmuffs, helmets, etc. All that stuff is probably filthy, and having that contact could possibly cause a microorganism to work its way into the piercing and cause an infection. Lastly, avoid contact with wet hair. Make sure your hair is dry before it comes in contact with the piercing. Just wear it up in one of those fancy towels. Trauma. You want to avoid trauma, pressure, anything that may abuse the piercing. Number one culprit with that with any ear piercing is people sleeping on it. You cannot sleep on the piercing while it's healing. Sorry, can't do it. You need to figure out either a way to keep you from rolling over onto that side of your face, or you need to go ahead and figure out a way to elevate it off the bed. Most common thing is one of those U-shaped travel pillows, kind of the neck pillows, and then put a clean sock on it and sleep your ear in the center of it every night. Avoid headphones, helmets, or I don't know what would go over there. Anything that goes over the area, if it's tight-fitting or it hurts to wear it, don't wear it. It's that simple. If it has contact with the piercing, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Avoid it until the piercing is healed. Also, don't share any of those items with other people, even if it doesn't come in contact with the piercing. Do not spin, rotate, move, or generally play with the piercing. I know at some point you're probably told to do this by some retail clerk at a place at the mall. Don't. There's no reason for it. It's just going to increase the likelihood of issues. If you have threaded jewelry, you need to check the ends on a regular basis and make sure they're on there tight. They can fall off of their own sometimes and come unscrewed. So to avoid that, you need to check them at least weekly. With jewelry, this is usually done with a curved barbell, either threadless or threaded. There's advantages to both of them. The threadless, they go in a little bit easier. They're a little bit easier to change. It gives you probably a larger variety because most studios stock more threadless ends than anything else. The disadvantage is because the curve is there and you're bending the wire to kind of press against that curve. Sometimes if you spin that end or that end gets spinned, it will just fall out. Same comes to, and this is one more reason to avoid contact with the area and not playing with it. The other thing with the screw-on threaded ones is they can kind of do the same thing. So you really kind of need to check the ends on this on a regular basis. Jewelry can be downsized. In most cases, we pierce a little bit on the big side on this one, but the jewelry, even once it heals, depending on the shape of your anatomy, is probably going to be a bit loose-fitting. That's just the style with this particular piercing. You can downsize in roughly about 4 to 6 weeks, especially if it's getting caught and snagged on things a lot. You really probably should downsize. Most piercers will have some type of discount involved with downsizing the jewelry, and they shouldn't charge to do it, but some do. Anatomy. Now, the area should be pronounced enough to be pierced and support the piercing. Most people do. Every once in a while, you'll find I'll have somebody come in and it says like, "No, I'm sorry, we can't do this." Some are a little bit more ideal than others. The biggest thing you want to look for is that this area you can actually, it's called the antihelix. This is your helix. This is your antihelix. That antihelix area should come up to a point and should be probably, I would say around, let's say 5/16 or quarter to 5/16 of an inch thick from the bottom to the top. If you call this the top, the ridge. It should also be in a position where it isn't going to be covered up or behind the forward helix, which is this flap right here. You want it out there so you can actually see it. I'm going to finish up with some things you should probably consider before getting it done. If you're going on vacation, I always advise waiting until you come back. It's just easier. You're not going to be hassling with this healing piercing. You control the environment and all that fun stuff, and you don't have to worry about not being able to get it wet. Like, if you want to go swimming. If you have a sporting event or organization that you belong to, or you do anything where you compete, or drama, or dance, or performances where it's going to require you to remove the jewelry, I advise waiting until you are contacting the person in charge and asking before you get the piercing done if it's okay. It's not a good idea to remove jewelry and replace it during the healing process or shortly after the healing process. If it's a situation where you can't wear the jewelry at all while you're doing your organized event, you may want to consider prolonging or postponing, that's a good word, getting the piercing until you're done with that activity. I don't know how to stress it enough. Sleeping and isolation on this piercing are very important. Most of the reason why we'll see problems with this piercing can be traced back to trauma. So the less trauma this area gets, the easier it's going to heal and the less likely to have problems. So be very careful when you're sleeping that you're not sleeping on it, and isolate it as much as possible. Keep everything away from it. Keep in mind that if you're one of those few people that wants to wear a ring in this piercing, placement can dictate whether or not that's a possibility. Talk to your piercer about that when you're getting it done or going through your consultation. Well, that's all I have to say about rook piercings today. If you'd like more information, we have a number of other videos that are out there. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. Subscribe, share, do all that stuff we like you to do. Also, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Probably one of these.